Peace, brothers and sisters. This is Dr. Sadiki Baye. I'd like to thank you once again for blessing me with an opportunity to enter into your home to share with you what the Creator and the ancestors has blessed me with. And all of us have talents, all of us have abilities, and we must share it with each other. What good is it to own the world and have no one to share it with? So I'd like to share with you what I have been blessed with. For this is a great day here and a great period of time in history. And this is the month that we called Black History Month or African History Month. And this month was created by the Honorable or founded by the Honorable Dr. Carter G. Woodson. And Carter G. Woodson was a child of slave parents, but he was a self-taught person. He became an author, a publisher, an entrepreneur, an orator, an educator. He was all that to the point where he graduated from Harvard University. Wow, that's really pulling yourself up by the bootstraps. So this brother was a brilliant brother, and we got to understand in the beginning it was called Negro History Week. But this month, which is February, was chosen specifically because it coined the birthdays of uh, Abraham Lincoln, which was February the 12th, the so-called person who, or president who so-called freed us, and the Honorable Frederick Douglass, our freedom fighter, which was February the 14th. And we must also understand that our black community celebrated this month from the late 19th century or the late 1800s. And this month, which is, as I say before, called Black History Month or African American History Month, it was the Negro History Week was the center of the equation. So our warrior, our ancestor now, Dr. Carter G. Woodson, was the founder of that. And the purpose of it was to remember and acknowledge and celebrate the accomplishments of our people and the roles that we played in the U.S. history and all over the world. Man, we were all that. But I just want to say that the um, the Pan African flag was created as an emblem of pride, and there was three colors: red, black, and green. Red for the blood of the people, black for the uh, particular people, which is us, and green for the luxurious, rich land that we came from. Red, black, and green. And Honorable Marcus Garvey, um, who was here for many years, who was a Jamaican, he was also a supreme warrior. And he founded the UNIA, the United Negro Improvement Association. I mean, Universal United Universal Negro Improvement Association, and the ACL, which is the African Community uh, Improvement Organization. So we had some, and he the one that constituted those colors, red, black, and green. That was brilliant because it was all talking about us. And Marcus Garvey he had over 1 million members over here. He was an entrepreneur. He was a author. He was a journalist. He had all of these businesses. He had a printing press where he had his own newspaper, his own shipping company, and his mission was to take us back to Africa, because Liberia and a couple countries over there was waiting for us to give us citizenship. But going back to Africa is not always physical. The real going back to Africa is mental. So we must mentally tap into our reality of the original people. We are the original people of this earth. So obviously, if we are the original people, we were the chosen people. We were given dominion over everything that the Creator uh, created. So we are the stewardess. We had stewardship over everything, the caretakers of everything. But we had these people who got trapped up in these Caucasus Mountains up in Russia. You know, they came when they was up there. Their pineal gland, which is the third eye, which gives you feelings and emotions and spirituality and rhythm, you know, it calcified. So they became something else. They became very vicious and aggressive and barbaric. And the reason why they loved dogs so much is the dogs helped them hunt meat. They were strictly meat eaters. So they were kind of animalistic there until they came down and saw how godly we were, and they started hating us. So they devised a strategy to take us over. I'm just giving you some golden nuggets that you can check out yourself. And I pray that you pursue these things. And truth can be kind of hurting there, it can be painful, but that's all right. Check it out for yourself to show yourself approval and lean not to your own misunderstanding, the understanding that they gave us. Misunderstanding. Don't let them school you, don't let them fool you. We must know who we are before we go to their institutions. So they can't lock us into these lies, this white nationalism, this Arab nationalism. The ones who uh, came into Africa and swooped us up. We are the original people of religion, but they took our religion and flipped it and made it theirs. Islam, you know, which is our original religion, and so is Christianity and Judaism. But they took it and flipped us on it and made it theirs. That's why they keep saying, "Don't change the word of God." Well, who's God but them? Every time we get sick, let's go to God. Whose God is them? The drug pushers. Why do you think they call these stores drug stores? I'm just throwing out some golden nuggets, brothers and sisters, family, so that we'll know how much we've been had. We are nowhere near our reality. 25 generations, 500 years is a wonder any of us can think. But God always deemed that there are going to be some remnants. And so we have to transform ourselves into those remnants. So I just want to give you some golden nuggets on this month that we call African History Month or Black History Month, which was um, which Negro History Week was the center of the equation by our warrior, Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who's an ancestor right now. But we must transform ourselves into honoring and representing them, acknowledging them, respecting them, loving them, and remembering them, because we are them. We are the ancestors having a human experience. So we must keep our connection with the spiritual ancestors. Thank you, Honorable Carter G. Woodson, for initiating us in reference to acknowledging our accomplishments and our roles in these countries, in this part of the world that we call America, which was originally Turtle Island. And they say that the original Americans were what? Indians. No, they weren't Indians. They were us. You know, Christopher Columbus, got lost and thought he was in India, so he called them Indians, and they just kept calling us Indians. They don't want us to know that it was us, and they killed the men and raped our women and made a new kind of people. And don't let them call us tribes. We are nations. Tribes are just families, but families coming together makes nations. So we are a nation of people. Let's remember that. Man, they got us all over the place. And I just want to give you some golden nuggets that you could prayerfully, it would motivate, inspire, encourage you to check it out for yourself. See, some of us are not scared. Some of us are not afraid to tell the truth, even though it hurts, even though that people can harm you by shining your light, and because they love the dark so much. So they're professionals at putting lights out. But we must navigate through this system here to make a difference. Now, I just want to say that the Pan African flag was created in August of 1920. And it was those three colors that I said before, red, black, and green, which represented us, our reality. It represented us. And the idea was to acknowledge the people of African descent, that we had common interests no matter where we were in the world. We had common interests. So therefore, we should unite. But they want to split us up. Don't let them do that. They did it, but we must exercise the Sankofa principle and go back and get it and bring it up and validate it. Because our future is in trouble. That's why they're harming each other. That's why they don't feel love. They don't feel a part of. But we must do that for them, make a difference before we pass on to become the spiritual ancestors once again. It's all about making things better. So also, we must understand that they even celebrate Black history in some European countries. And the three main ones are Ireland, the Netherlands, and the UK, United Kingdom. Why? Because obviously was that a whole lot of Black folks over there who made a difference. Don't forget, we are the original people. We were everywhere before anybody else came on the scene. But they flipped it on us and made it theirs because they took us over viciously, stole it, and made it theirs because we had no rights. We had no rights. So they claimed it and told us that we were sinners. We were no good. We were lazy. You know what I mean? And we were animalistic and a badge of degradation and dehumanization. Man, they did a masterful job on us, and we still going for the okie doke. We got to wake up. We got to wake up. This is the time to wake up. Everything goes in cycles, and this is the time of waking up because this is Sodom and Gomorrah. This is Babylon right now. Study it, and you'll see what it was all about. Then you can know what to do to make a significant difference, to create a legacy, a righteous legacy that will be here for generations to come. So we must know that Black History Month, they made it an annual celebration of our accomplishments and to celebrate important people and events over here in this country. This is where it started. Yes. Now, where Carter G. Woodson was born in 1870 and he passed in 1950. But in 1976, President Ford made this an official celebration for us. And I just want to say something about President Ford. President Ford lived in Alexandria, Virginia, where I was born and raised. We lived in the projects, and all the other folks, white folks, and all of them lived around us. They circled us in so they can see everything that's going on. But guess what? I went to school with his uh, two oldest sons, and his oldest son name was John, and the next one was Jack, and we went to T.C. Williams High School. Can you remember the movie Remember the Titans, where Denzel Washington played my coach, which was Coach Herman Boone from Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina. He was the first black coach when we integrated those schools. But me and Jack Ford, we were co-captains of the football team there. And we graduated the year before they made the movie Remember the Titans. So as usual, as we say, they were my young boys. I knew them all. And Coach Boone is the one that got me up here, the Temple University in Philadelphia, to play football. And I thank God for him because he passed some months ago. It's all good. He blessed me to have some direction because I didn't know what I was going to do after high school. I just wanted to throw that out there. So all of us are not only a part of history, we are history. Everybody have a story to tell because everybody is a story. So with that in mind, when Negro History Week originated, we were still in slavery. Still in slavery. We were supposed to have been so-called free. That's why we celebrated Abraham Lincoln, which he was a fake-out president to make us believe that he freed us. Guess what? No one can give you freedom. Freedom is taken. Freedom is an inside job. So don't go for the okie doke like, so we can say, well, all enemies are not bad. Well, hey, an enemy is an enemy. A snake is a snake. So we must not forget the nature of things. Never forget that. So it was originally the celebration of our accomplishments and our achievements and certain events of us over here in this country. We were already here. Only a few that was brought over here that we call on the ships. But we were already here, family. That's why I keep saying don't let them school you, don't let them fool you. Know your history before you go to their buildings that are for liars, they're for, weaklings. So as a people, we had our hands in all inventions that were righteous. But we had no rights, so we couldn't, claim them. So what did they do? They claimed them and said it was them. So now we're looking up to them for something that they didn't even do. Let me give you an example of some of the inventions that we invented. How about the cotton gin? I know you were taught that some other folks, the white man, he invented the cotton gin. Why would he invent something when we were under slavery, when we did all the work? Why would he invent something like that? So it had to be one of us who invented it to take some of the pressure off of us, some of that madness off of us. So we invented the cotton gin. How about electricity? When they said Ben Franklin created electricity, and the light bulb, which was another lie because electricity was already here. We are scientists. We are mathematicians. It was already going on. They Johnny come lately people. But guess what? when you look at the light bulb, Ben Franklin created the bulb. Our warrior, Honorable Latimer, he created the filament. What good is the bulb without the filament? You have no light. Check it out for yourself. I'm just throwing it out there. Some golden nuggets that prayerfully to motivate, inspire, and encourage you to go head on and check it out for yourself. How about the refrigerator? The refrigerator. How about the stoplights? How about peanut butter? George Washington Carver, who made many products with peanuts and other plants, including cosmetics. All kinds of products out of plant life. Wow. One man who they castrated so he can never, have children. Check it out for yourself. This is Sadiki just throwing you some golden nuggets that give you some directions on, checking some things out for yourself. Well, how about this? How about the cars? The automobile. We thought that Henry Ford was the one who did all of that. When in fact, when you study history, it was C.R. Patterson and Sons who manufactured more vehicles than Henry Ford can think of. Henry Ford, he said that he manufactured the Model T. How about the Continental engine of C.R. Patterson and Sons? They produced more cars than Henry Ford, but as they got mad, as usual, they start hating, then they are blackballers. And they're sabotagers. I'm telling you, family, check it out for yourself. C.R. Patterson and Sons, the manufacturer of the greatest vehicles back then. Other products, blood plasma. Blood plasma, which was invented by our warrior, Dr. Charles Drew. Dr. Charles Drew, he saved a whole lot of white folks. Many, many, many white folks with his blood plasma. But it was a time that he got in this accident or something and he needed blood plasma and they didn't give it to him. So he died. This is how vicious people are towards us, because they know that we are the original people and they don't like that. That's why they say, hey, don't change the word of God. Well, again, who's portrayed as God? But this person who looks white, which is white nationalism. And then Islam, like I said before, is Arab nationalism. We need to know the beginning of things and not in the middle and at the end. Study for yourself etymology, the beginning of words, the beginning of terms, the beginning of life. There was no one but us here. Everybody else came later. And our children need to know that so that they can have some real pride and not that old false pride. Now, also, how about suits and shoes? Who's the cleanest guys? Who's the Dapper Dan and all of that? Nobody but us. And how about all the musical instruments? We think of the banjo and the violin was from white folks. No. All string instruments were us. And the harp, look at the harp. Lay the harp down, you have the piano. All you did is add the keys to it. The keys hit the strings instead of your hands. That's the piano. All our people were so genius at everything. They had ivory keys. Well, where did ivory come from? It didn't come from Europe. Come on now. But yet you got the Jews who's the masters at producing and manufacturing pianos. So you see how all of these other people, these imposters, took us over and claimed everything about us. This is how much they hated us. Because they know that if you're a child of God, then God is there. That's why when all the leaders said, hey, when you see me, you see the Father, for I and the Father are one. And when you look in the mirror, there it is. You get 2 for 1. The image and the likeness of God, as I said before, and that God is right there in you. We got to stop having this coming and going, God. God, please be praying. God, please come into my life. And then, well, if God ain't there, you in trouble. You're in some serious trouble. Always acknowledge his presence and his power that is right there within you. So tap into the powers of God that's already there. He wants us to do that. That's why he allows certain things to happen so that we can acknowledge his presence. But we start bitching and complaining, God, why are you doing this to me? Well, it's just an opportunity for you to acknowledge him. Sometimes we go astray and take things for granted. It is what it is. Now, this word African diaspora, this term, African diaspora, you know, diaspora is a mass disbursement of a population from its indigenous people. A mass disbursement of a population from its indigenous territories. So who were there but us? We started in Africa and we just went all over the world and replenished the world. So we were there first before anybody came on the scene. So we have to remember that. Remember that. But they want us to believe that the Jews were the ones that, dispersed. They had it in the scriptures where the Jews came out of Egypt and just dispersed. No. If you study history, the Jews never had a home. They were nomads. So were the Arabs. But when we were everywhere that they went, that's when they started hating, started taking us over, killing the brothers and raping our women and making a new kind of people. They doing that today. Look at all the commercials and everything. Everything is interracial, everything. Why all of a sudden? Because if you study statistics, which they love so much, that they are losing ground. They're becoming less and less in numbers. So what do? They join in with us all of a sudden, and then you have a new kind of child with a new kind of mind, mulattoes, and they are not going to relate to us. This is nothing but a master plan that they have created, and we must know that. I'm not afraid to tell the truth. This is part of Black History Month. This is part of African History Month. And the center of all of this came from Negro History Week. So we went from a week to a month. But guess what? It must be 12 months a year. I can't be this today and something else tomorrow. I am who I am. We are who we are. We are family. And we have to come back together as community because of our similar interests. I went to Mexico, what was it, last year, I believe it was, and I went to Coba, Mexico. Guess what was there? Nothing but pyramids. Nothing but signs that we were there also. And then their stories, the Mexican story that the conquistadors, which are the vicious Spaniards, came over there and killed the men and raped all the women, and they became lighter and started speaking Spanish. But they scared to tell us, so they whisper it to you. But it's the same thing all over the world. Beware of the enemy. But they say in the scripture, love your enemy as you love yourself. Wait a minute. If I love my enemy as I love myself, then why even have the term enemy? Just get rid of it. It doesn't make sense. We're the only ones that go for that okie doke stuff, the crazy stuff that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. This is how they got us. They got us believing that we can't do without them when in fact they can't do without us. This is the main thing that I want to emphasize in this month. That we are a child of God. We are the original ones. We are the caretakers of everything that our God created. But they flipped it on us because they're nothing but wild, barbaric, animalistic, thinking beings. It is what it is. So Marcus Garvey, he constituted the red, black, and green. He founded the UNIA, like I said before, and the ACL. We had brothers that we had all kind of revolutions over here, but they want to give us one or two. Black Wall Street, they only want us to emphasize Oklahoma when we had Black Wall Street all across this country. And once they found out, they went to war on us because they had the guns. There was no need for guns for us. We were spiritual people. But we took them for granted. And most of us still do. A snake is a snake. It doesn't matter what time it is, what year it is. Now, this term black, I want to ask you real quickly, because time is moving. Is black a color? I'm going to wait a second or two. Is black a color? Well, the answer is this. No. Definitely not. Black are the shades. Black is a shade of light. In other words, black is really not a color. It is the absorption of all colors, the absorption of all light. When the sun, our skin absorbs light. Black absorbs. That's why they call us sun people. Without the sun, there is no life, no light. We are the light of the world as a people. So black is not a color. It is all light that is absorbed into one. That's why they say out of the darkness comes everything, including the light. White repels color. That's why it stays on the surface and burns them and gives them cancer and everything. That's why they got to put on these chemicals to shade out the light so it won't destroy them. They are the leprosy people. We need the sun. That's one of the reasons why they had us in the fields, because we are the only ones who can take it. So, prayerfully, family, that you got some golden nuggets out of what I said to inspire, motivate, and encourage you to study yourself and to know who you are and whose you are and to know who we are. We are family. We have more in common than not, and that's why we should unify and stop finding the differences to minimize our unity. So with that in mind, happy Black History Month, happy African History Month. Thank you, the Honorable Dr. Carter G. Woodson, for blessing us with the concept of celebrating each other and the events that we played over here in this country. and throughout the world. And thank you, Marcus Garvey, for putting the accent on it, and all the others who had their hands in it. And I too want to be in that number. And I'm going to do all I can to qualify myself. So, warriors, I love you. I bless you, and I want you to prosper. Stay strong and keep your faith where it belongs. Do your best and let God do the rest. You got to know when to hold and know when to fold. Keep your head towards the universe where all strength comes from, and never give up and never, ever, ever, ever give in, no matter how things seem as emotions. No matter how things seem, because everything is, always was, and always will be in divine order. God don't make no mistakes, but we do. But when you learn from your mistakes, it's all good. So keep on growing and keep on learning. You can't go wrong. In order to win, you must first be a winner. You can't fool energy. Keep your lights on and keep them bright at all times. Because we got a lot of people who are professionals at putting lights out, but don't let them do it to you. So protect your lights and do all you can to fulfill your purpose and create a righteous legacy that will last for generations to honor our Creator and our ancestors. Happy new month and happy new life. We are African Americans forever, not just for the month. Happy new life, family, and be safe. Hotep.